Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining me on this episode of Val Talks Pets. In my last episode, I talked about seniors and older adults having pets and the benefits and challenges that go with that. On this episode, I'm going to discuss more about senior pets. Now, I have another episode on senior pets, managing our aging pets, but I'm going to add a few new things here. So let's get into senior pets, a deeper dive. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Val Talks Pets, the forum for pet parents and enthusiasts alike. Having been in the pet industry for over 10 years now, I'm going to share with you issues and questions that arise as I work with pet parents on a day-to-day basis. I am not a veterinarian, but I do have certifications in canine, feline, small animal, fish and herptile, and avian health and nutrition from the University of California, Davis Extension. Having a senior pet happens a few ways. We either get a puppy or a younger dog, and being the pet parent that knows that having a pet is for its life, that puppy or younger dog ages and eventually becomes a senior. The other way one becomes a parent to a senior pet is by actively adopting a senior pet, or a circumstance has occurred where you step up and give a senior pet a home from, say, a friend or family member that may have passed away or is hospitalized or has been moved to long-term care. That scenario plays out more than you realize. I have a friend who now has a senior Westie. He's 15, and his human mom passed away. Due to circumstances, my friend originally said she would take care of him until a permanent parent was found. Well, that went out the window pretty quick, as she is totally besotted with him, and he's not going anywhere out of her care. And I mentioned in the previous episode of a woman I met who had a real senior dog that she actively looked to adopt because that's what she does. She wants to give senior dogs that are in a shelter or rescue a wonderful last few years of life. She is a hero. Unfortunately, many senior dogs do end up in shelters or rescues because the pet parent passed away or has gone to long-term care. In this instance, no one in the family wants the dog, and it wasn't discussed beforehand or put in the will what was to be done for the dog's care in the event of. Next thing you know, a beloved pet in its senior years is dropped off at the shelter, and the family member walks out without a care in the world while this poor older dog or elderly dog sits wondering what it did wrong and where is their human. This is why it is so important for an older adult or senior pet parent who may have health issues to be proactive and plan ahead with legal and practical considerations. Pet trust and end-of-life considerations should be planned out. So, when exactly is a dog or cat considered a senior? For dogs, it will vary based on size and breed. As a guideline, small dogs are considered seniors between 10 and 12 years. Medium dogs are seniors between 8 to 9 years, and large and giant breeds are seniors between 6 to 7 years. As I said, this is a guideline. Factors like overall health, nutrition, supplements, exercise, stress levels, all factor into how the dog will age. A cat is generally considered a senior at age 11. I remember when we took Esme to the vet for an accident that happened and the vet called her a senior. I said, "A senior? She's only 7. Some vets will actually begin senior exams at the age of 7. So I guess he was going with that. Rory, as I mentioned, just turned 15. Well, he chases a flung hairband, jumps on the bathroom counter, and caught 5 mice this week. Living in the country, that does mean there are snacks. He doesn't act like a senior, but I did put him on senior food a few years ago. So let's talk food for a senior cat or dog. It is a good idea to think about putting an older pet on senior food. In the first part of getting older, dogs and cats tend to put on weight, and a senior food can help with this as it reduces the fat content and sometimes the protein level. As well, many senior formulas will reduce the sodium content, which reduces the tax on the kidneys. The downside with senior food is that because it has a reduced fat content, the taste can be a bit different for the pet and not as tasty. Plus, just like people, dogs and cats start to have a reduction in taste sensation. So to them, the food could just taste bland. This is when we have to get a bit creative. There are some great toppers available. Plus, bone broth or goat's milk are very good for their health and will add flavor. In the scheme of things, I don't think adding a topper or broth takes away from the benefits of a senior food. I also get asked if senior food has glucosamine, and most often it does. However, if the pet is getting to the elderly age, I would supplement that as well. And a great segue there. Let's talk about supplements for an older pet. There are a lot of supplements and nutraceuticals that can manage an aging pet very well. Hip and joint is always the biggest request. There are many, I mean many hip and joint formulas on the market. Some are for maintenance and some are for more severe cases of arthritis and pain. Formulas for hip and joint come in a treat, liquid, powder, and even an oil. I think this is the place to start. The way to administer the product will be the first thing to decide. There may be an excellent formula in powder, but if your dog will not eat his food, if there is an odd powder in it, despite adding some water, what are you going to do? First thing is to figure out the best way to get the supplement into the pet. From there, you can pick which one you think has good levels and or good reviews. And if the first thing you choose doesn't really help much, it doesn't mean hip and joint supplements don't work. It means you have to find a different one. Cats are really tough because often they will not eat their wet food if something has been added. I use a liquid with cats and start very, very small with the drop. And if all else fails, there is always syringing a liquid into their mouth. Apart from hip and joint, there are formulas designed for pain. Omega Alpha makes easy mobility. This natural formula is designed for pain relief on those days when there may have been some overexertion or just a bad day. There are also supplements to support the kidneys. These supplements, like Kidney Tone from Omega Alpha, can really help an older pet that is having some urgency issues, needing to pee often, or peeing a lot, like what happens to cats as their kidneys start to age. As well, some pets may start to have some incontinence issues, and kidney supplements can really help arrest this. Liver issues can also show up as a pet ages. Liver disease can cause a lack of appetite, vomiting, and diarrhea. This is definitely something that warrants a trip to the vet. However, a good liver support again can really help and alleviate heavy reliance on medication. Okay, so what other formulas can we use to boost our aging pet? Dandelion leaf and root is great for degenerative diseases and kidney, liver, and gallbladder support. Certain mushrooms are really hitting the stage as a super support for the immune system and digestion. Reishi mushroom, maitake mushroom, shiitake mushroom, and chaga mushroom are all mushrooms you will hear when talking about antioxidants, digestion, immune boosting, and vitality. And of course, don't forget those probiotics. I also like the Pet Vitality formula from Omega Alpha. It is a senior pet formula in liquid that does a great job of combining all kinds of supports we are looking for. Without reading the whole label, some of the names you may recognize are ashwagandha root, good for inflammation and brain boosting; turmeric for arthritic pain and swelling; devil's claw for pain with analgesic properties; reishi mushroom, as just mentioned, and the list goes on. Apart from food and supplements for aging pets, the pet market really has answered the call for items that can help an aging pet. Let's look at some of the products that can give them and ourselves a hand with an older pet. One of the newer therapies used on pets is red laser therapy. If you listen to my interview with Tammy Fox from Pumpkin and Friends charity, she said that Pumpkin goes regularly for red laser therapy and loves it. LLLT, or low level laser therapy, as known as photobiomodulation, is a non-invasive treatment that uses red and near-infrared light to stimulate healing and reduce inflammation in dogs or cats. A pet with arthritis and pain can really benefit from this therapy. Dogs Smarter by Design has just come out with an infrared healing blanket. According to the package, it says it can help with calming, but it heals by boosting performance of the body's cells, accelerating the natural healing of injuries, helps with aches, pains, and joint stiffness associated with arthritis and inflammation. This could just be the ticket for the dog to lie on and get some nice therapy. It comes in large and medium. The next item is an orthopedic bed. Orthopedic beds have been around for a while, but the design was always a bit stiff, and it's like a human-sized mattress just made smaller. The new orthopedic beds have different designs and are like loungers with raised sides so the dog can rest their head, or a pillow type, but although orthopedic, it still has some softness to it. The sizes vary on these, so anyone could be also chosen for a cat. Now, many of us like to have our dog or cat on the bed with us or on the couch. Steps have been used for quite some time for smaller dogs, but steps can make a big difference for a pet with limiting mobility. We have just noticed that Tundra will not voluntarily come on the bed anymore, and we have to really encourage him to jump up, and sometimes he will look like he wants to, but just gives up. Steps come in such a variety, and some can be really fancy and custom made. I'm fairly impressed with a set by PetSafe that looks quite sturdy, plastic sides, but it is collapsible. That would be perfect to put the steps away when not needed. Like steps for in the house, there are several dog ramps that help a dog get into the car. Now, most are for the dog to load into the back part of the vehicle. Usually we have Tundra in the back seat, but I figured this out. If I fold one seat down and put the ramp at the back, he can come into the back of the vehicle, walk forward, and turn onto the back seat. And then I can just lift the back of the seat back into the upright position. Ramp goes in the back and off you go. If steps or a ramp are not going to work, you could also try a dog lifter. Kurgo makes a good dog lifter that is like a belly band with handles. You slip the band around the middle of the dog, and the handles on top allow you to help the dog get into the vehicle or onto a bed or couch. The Kurgo dog lifter says it is for dogs up to 90 pounds. The only drawback is that I have found that it won't go all the way around a large dog. So when looking for a dog lifter, see if it will give the girth dimension and then measure your dog. Another product that can help with an aging pet is an elevated diner. As a dog or cat, for that matter, age, it may become uncomfortable to bend down for food or water. Elevated diners that have 2 bowls come in many different heights, and this can really help the pet to want to stay hydrated and to eat their meals. A GPS collar may also be something to think about. Sometimes as our pet ages, they can experience some senior moments and lose where they are and wander off. If that is a possibility, then a GPS tracker may be an idea. And this is a tip that I have found has made a big difference for many people, and it is very simple. Sometimes cats in particular will meow for no reason in the middle of the night, or pee or poo somewhere random in the night, but not in the day. They have no problem using their litter. Here's the tip. Put night lights where the cat's litter is kept so they can see their way to it. Even a little light near the area will help. A night light where the food and water is kept will also help with those nighttime howls. Dogs as well need to see their way to their water bowl and their sleeping areas. We tend to forget that just like humans, as a dog or cat ages, their eyesight is not as keen and may start to develop cataracts, impairing that sharp vision they used to have. Now, besides from equipment and nutrition, we have some other options to help with our aging pets. Massage can be a really nice way to give some stiff muscles some attention and to increase blood flow and circulation. All of these can help the overall well-being of your pet. Plus, it is a great bonding time between human and pet. Another practice would be Reiki. Reiki is a great way to deal with any pain without laying any hands on the pet. Reiki will release any energy blockages and help the dog facilitate some healing or relief. If things are looking a little more significant, acupuncture is also an option. You would have to seek out a trained acupuncturist, but it is certainly possible. Another option is to look into rehab facilities for pets. There you can participate in hydrotherapy, either on a treadmill underwater, or some have swim time where you can swim with your pet. And if you have a backyard pool, hopefully your aging pup enjoys joining in for a swim. Now, when your pet becomes elderly, it really becomes a time of making them comfortable. A bit of exercise if they can handle it. And if food pickiness happens, well, maybe it's time to give them what they want within reason. As you can see, there are a lot of things we can do to manage and help our aging pets. Senior pets are to be cherished. They have given their loyalty and love all their lives, and it is our turn to repay the favor by caring for them the best that we can. Today's innovations, improved nutritional formulas, and the embracing of natural supplements has added years to our pets' lives. And when the time comes that they cross the rainbow bridge, we will know that those twilight years were good. As your pet starts to become a senior or already is a senior, have a think about the options for senior pets and do access my other episode for senior pets about managing our aging pets. There is always something to learn. And as I say, knowing is caring. Thank you for listening to Val Talks Pets. Please remember to follow or subscribe to ensure that you never miss an episode. To really help the show and to make it easier for others to find, please rate and review each episode that you find interesting and helpful. And don't forget that you can also email me at val@valtalkspets.com with topics you would like me to address or with any questions you may have. Also, check out my website at valtalkspets.com and let me know what you think and how we can improve upon it. Thanks for caring.